Hey there, I have been extra busy this past week because we have been moving into our new house here in Utah, and to make dinner time easy on myself, I decided to prepare slow cooker meals for pretty much every night this past week. So all of these recipes are extra easy today and they are dump and go. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's go get started in the new kitchen. We're beginning today with this seasoned rice and chicken. You already know I was pretty busy this past week, so to cut down on cleaning time, I decided to use these slow cooker liners in my crock pot. I don't use them frequently, but I definitely recommend them if you are busy. I'll leave them linked in my Amazon store for you. So the first ingredients I am tossing into our slow cooker are these two 5.5-ounce bags of core cheddar and broccoli rice sides. Next, I'm tossing in a 10-ounce bag of frozen broccoli. If you don't care for broccoli, you could use frozen peas or frozen green beans, kind of whatever veggie you prefer. And then for our chicken broth, I'm adding 32 ounces of chicken broth right in there. It's just one of those big containers. And then I whisked this all together to incorporate the rice and the chicken broth and the seasonings all together. So I have my two big chicken breasts right here. I didn't have very many seasonings that I had unpacked at this point when I was cooking this meal, so I just seasoned the chicken with a dash of oregano, onion powder, and salt, but you could season your chicken with anything that you love. Now that I'm through seasoning our chicken, I brought the chicken over to the slow cooker. I added it right in there, and this is going to cook on low for about 4 to 5 hours or until your chicken is cooked. Here's the finished product. I love how the rice and the chicken cook together, and this is like a complete meal because it has the veggie in it too. I definitely recommend this recipe, and I don't recommend cooking it longer than 5 hours or else your rice might get a little bit mushy. Now we're making this creamy ranch chicken, and my sweet mom used to make something so similar to this when I was growing up. To begin, I am just dicing this one red bell pepper into smaller pieces. Now over to my slow cooker, I'm adding in 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Next, I'm adding in 1 ounce packet of this ranch seasoning. This is going to give this recipe a ton of flavor, trust me. And then I'm adding in a 1/2 cup of water, and I am going to whisk this all together. Now that we have that well combined, I tossed in our 1 diced bell pepper along with our pound of chicken breast, or you could use a pound of chicken tenderloins, whatever you prefer. Coat the chicken in that sauce, put the lid on top, and this will cook on low for about 4 to 5 hours or until your chicken's completely cooked. Now that our chicken's cooked, I'm just shredding it up with 2 forks. You see, it is super tender. I could shred it with the back of a fork. It is really, truly that tender. Now that our chicken is all shredded up, I added in 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and 4 ounces of cubed cream cheese. Give this a really good stir, put the lid on top, and let this continue to cook on low for an additional 15 to 20 minutes or until everything is nice and melty. While that's cooking away, I am going to boil up our egg noodles. I like to serve this over egg noodles. You could serve it over any noodle or rice, kind of whatever you prefer. Here's the finished product. This is a wonderful family-friendly, budget-friendly option. I really like how the bell pepper shines through and it's not too overpowering. Everything just goes really well together in this recipe. Like I said previously, serve it over anything you want. You could even make this lower carb and serve it over cauliflower rice. Now we're making these fall off the bone tender baby back ribs. So to begin, we are going to start on the dry rub. In this little bowl, I added 3 tablespoons of paprika, a tablespoon of salt, a 1/2 tablespoon of pepper, and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Mix this all together. You'll want to use between 4 to 5 pounds of pork ribs for this recipe. Go ahead and rub the dry rub all over the front and the back of the ribs at this point. Then brush on about 1 cup of barbecue sauce. You could use any type of barbecue sauce that you love, but I went ahead and used the Sweet Baby Ray's brand. Now that I'm finished brushing on our barbecue sauce, I'm going to place the ribs in the slow cooker. So they're going in the slow cooker standing upright with the meaty side against the inside wall. And then I poured on about 1 cup more barbecue sauce. Over the top of everything, I poured 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. This cooked on low for about 7 hours or until my ribs were fall apart tender. Corn on the cob is so perfect at this time of year, so I'm showing you my favorite way of cooking it in the Instant Pot. It's so easy. I add my trivet, then I add my 4 pieces of corn. You could use however many pieces of corn that you want. And then I add a cup of water, put the lid on top, and I cook this on high pressure for about 4 minutes with a quick release. It cannot get any easier than this. Your corn will come out so juicy and delicious. I grabbed my ribs out of the slow cooker, placed them on a sheet pan lined with parchment paper, and you see the ribs are kind of broken apart just because they are that fall apart tender. They didn't stay together. Anyways, I just poured some barbecue sauce over the top, and I'm going to place this under my broiler in the oven for a couple of minutes to kind of like make the barbecue sauce on top a glaze. Here's the finished product. Those ribs are like melt in your mouth, buttery good. I cannot even explain them to you. You definitely have to try this one. I served it, of course, alongside of our Instant Pot corn on the cob and mashed potatoes. This is a wonderful summer meal. Now we're getting started on this slow cooker Hawaiian barbecue chicken. To my slow cooker, I'm adding my 1 pound of chicken breast. Of course, you could use chicken tenderloins as a substitute if you'd like. Over the chicken, I'm using a cup of barbecue sauce. Then add a tablespoon of minced garlic along with 2 teaspoons of soy sauce and 20 ounces of pineapple chunks. Make sure you leave the juice in the pineapple chunks, don't strain it. I cooked this on low for about 5 hours or until the chicken was cooked. Once the chicken was cooked, I removed it to a separate plate and I mashed it up. I shredded that chicken. I used my meat masher. If you don't have a meat masher, I have it linked in my Amazon store. It is so useful when shredding meats, but I added the shredded chicken back into the slow cooker. I gave it a stir, then it was ready to serve. We like to enjoy ours over a bed of white rice. This really does have the perfect amount of sweetness from the pineapple chunks in it, but it is not overpowering at all. I love how simple this recipe is to throw together. It's amazing. Now we're making my favorite slow cooker hamburger potato casserole. To get started on this one, to the pan on my stove, I added a pound of ground beef. I broke the ground beef up and then I remembered, oh man, I was supposed to add in a diced onion. So here I am adding in that 1 diced up white onion. I'm going to cook the ground beef through at this point. While our ground beef's cooking away, I have my 6 russet potatoes right here. I'm going to cut them into kind of like bite-sized pieces like this. I'm going to set our potatoes to the side, back over to our ground beef. If you have any excess grease in your pan, remove it at this point. I added our ground beef and onion mixture into the slow cooker. Next, I added in our potatoes that we cut into bite-sized pieces. Now add in your 2 10-ounce cans of cream of mushroom soup. If you don't care for cream of mushroom soup, you could use any other type of cream of soup that you like. And then for the seasonings, add in a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, and the last ingredient I added in was 1 drained 15-ounce can of corn. I gave this a stir, I put the lid on top, and I cooked this on low for about 5 hours. After those 5 hours of cooking, I added in 3/4 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. I let the cheese melt down and then it was ready to serve. I've found my favorite way of explaining this dinner to people is it kind of reminds me of one of those tinfoil dinners that you put over a campfire or that you cook over a barbecue grill. It really does have similar flavoring to that. It is so good. I served it alongside of a Caesar salad. Now we're making this chicken and bacon with vegetables. To my slow cooker, I added about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. My chicken was still a little bit frozen, but no worries there. Next, I'm going to be adding in 4 medium russet potatoes that I cut into smaller pieces like this. After the potatoes, add in 6 ounces of fresh or frozen green beans. For the seasonings, to ensure this has plenty of flavor, I added in 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning. Now over to my cutting board, I am going to be cutting up our bacon. I'm using 3 pieces of this fresh bacon. I just cut it into smaller bite-sized pieces just like this. Back over to my slow cooker, I added our bacon right in there, and I tried to make sure the bacon wasn't clumped up too much, so I tried to separate it. I put the lid on top and I cooked this on low for about 6 to 7 hours. Here's what dinner looks like. That chicken is so juicy from all of the flavor and the drippings from the bacon. The potatoes and the green beans are really nice and tender. If you're a bacon fan, you will definitely devour this dinner. I have plenty more slow cooker videos like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed down below the video so you don't miss any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.